Good morning, Martin. How are we doing, mate? All right?
I'm good, yeah. Thanks, Dave. Good to see you again.
No worries, mate. So we're going to continue with the little short burst of advice that we did last time as a bit of a so people can listen to these podcasts or watch these podcasts. They're not long formats. You can listen to it, get some real applicable advice from someone who's lived that experience, and hopefully go on to, like we discussed last time, be the best version of themselves.
Anyways.
So today we're going to touch on something you mentioned at the end of the last one. I asked you a question about how did you start to turn your environment around and switch kind of a negative aspect into a positive, and you spoke about throwing yourself into your family. They were the people who you neglected throughout your kind of addiction years. What would you say to people who haven't necessarily got a family to throw themselves into and support?
I mean, the thing is that it's about environments, and it's about looking at positive people around you, whether that's in work, whether that's someone you bump into in the park when you're going for your run or you're walking your dog. We or it could be somebody in a community centre or somebody in a food bank or a homeless hub. I don't know. You know, there's normally there'll be somebody positive that's crossed your path, because if you are willing to make these changes, you must have reached out. So if you would normally have reached out to a physician or to somebody, a counsellor or somebody like that. So what I would say is, if there's no family around you and you've got no friends around you, we're dead fortunate now in 2023. There's loads of support groups and there's loads of help out there. And with the internet, you've got access to knowing where these meetings are and when they are. So I would say maybe, we're massive on volunteering. So we've done volunteer programs where we've encouraged people to go and just give a couple of hours of the time. Now, if you're going into a community centre or a food bank, and there's plenty of them, unfortunately, at the minute, there's the people that sort of that end up being attracted to them places are good people who are there giving their time, who have known, the majority of them might have had a story, might have had a little bit of a journey. We'll definitely be able to relate to what you're going through. So if you've literally got nobody at all, and you're in your flat and you don't know anybody around you, you might be in a different area from where you've grown up or whatever that is, reach out to the community, because that's what we're really good at in this country at the minute. Is community. And I think more so since COVID, we have pulled together, and it's refreshing, mate, and it's on the rise as well, because we're still in the middle of a massive financial downturn at the minute, and it hasn't finished yet. So every day, we're out there and you're out there, and you know what I'm talking about. There's a massive need for support in our communities, but there's amazing people out there that are facilitating this support.
Yeah, that's really good advice, mate. Yeah, embracing the community. We spoke about people and places last time, and the environment, and removing yourself from that environment and those negative people around you. What I want to try and touch on and get out of this episode today is, I think, and you'll obviously be able to talk about this more specifically, is going down, having addiction issues, substance abuse issues. A lot of the time you see people neglect their families, neglect their friends, and move away from those positive relationships. And then when you might have hit your rock bottom, you might have started to have this awareness, and you're trying to make contact, you're trying to reconcile with these loved ones who you've maybe not spoke to in a while, or you've ostracized yourself from them. How do people start to build back those relationships with people who they've not spoke to for years?
Yeah, no, it's a really good point, and it is part of the program that we take people through. So the program of recovery that Dave Sheridan and I wrote, Addiction Not Addiction, a massive stage in that is rebuilding relationships. Now sometimes that can be very raw, and there can be different levels of that, because you could have basically just annihilated them relationships, and it might be too soon to be doing that. in them cases, what we suggest is just focus on getting yourself better and focus on making them changes, because them close family members and friends who you've hurt, they'll probably heard you, a million times say that you're going to change and this is going to be the last time and you're never going to do it again. And I know with me, I made numerous massive, statements that this was it and I was going to do it and I was going to do this and I was going to do that. And I just didn't, because I wasn't, for whatever reason, I wasn't ready to do it. So it's a good point that you're making. It's a good topic, because I think the best thing that you can do is just improve and focus on getting well. Because if you do, and you get a few weeks under your belt, a few days under your belt, and then people around you see that, and they will find out, if they're not seeing you every day, they'll bump into someone who says, "Oh, see now, so and so, I've seen you, blah blah. It looks great. He hasn't had a drink, for 3 weeks, or he hasn't had any drugs. He's volunteering down in the food bank. Oh, is he? Yeah." And then a few more weeks go by, and then you're in a position then where, see, what happens is, when we're in addiction, speaking to somebody about this in a session yesterday, we lose our standing almost in the community, because people are just sick of us lying to them, and they're sick of us being unreliable, and they're sick of us, like, I've spoke to you before about the ripple effect when people drop a stone in the mill ponds. We're dropping concrete slabs off skyscrapers, and we're just causing chaos. So sometimes just to somebody to see that bit of stability is enough for them to take you serious. And we talk about rebuilding your life and rebuilding your castle. Well, just putting a bit of a tarpaulin over the roof so the rain doesn't come in. Sometimes that's enough. You don't have to put an extension on. Just stop the rot. So that's the thing. So my answer to that would be, start with you. Start with improving you, because that's the only way you'll rebuild them relationships. You're not going to rebuild them if you're still bouncing in and out of the madness. If you get yourself right, and I see this all the time. I've seen it very, very recently with a couple who were on the verge of splitting up. She was kicking him out. He was going to end up sort of sofa surfing, because he couldn't afford to get his own place and support his family, because he was still working, but he wasn't making a very good job of it. And he's basically got a bit of sobriety under his belt. 4 weeks, 6 weeks, she's realised he's really wanting to make a difference. He's just about managed to stay in the house, and now he's like 6 months in, and it's amazing. She's dead proud of him, and but that's only happened because he's initiated them changes. So I think this little snippet that we're talking about now, and this little sort of like message is start with you, because you don't need to go out making them massive grand gestures and trying to pull all these people back in, because that's what we tend to do as addicts. We're what's the saying? Go big or go home. If we're in. We want it to happen straight away. We want everybody to be our best mate again. Because we're loving, caring people. We just took a bad path. So start with you, and then the rest of it will just happen. You can't help the rest of it happen, because if you're a good person, which predominantly we are, and you start making them changes, and people see that nice person that they knew and loved coming back, that they're going to gravitate back to you.
Yeah, that's massive, mate. Really good advice. So I think like paraphrase what you're saying then is about taking the smallest, rather than, like you said, try and reconcile with these people who you've damaged the relationship with. It's about taking the smallest achievable bit of action. So your actions speak louder than words, don't they? So it's like understanding what's the smallest step you can take, the smallest bit of action that's achievable, for you to start making progress, and then you can build on that, can't you? Again, making it achievable. Sorry, mate, just bear with me a minute. My laptop's going to take over in a minute. And then allows you to build momentum, doesn't it? So if you can facilitate one little bit of action, looking after yourself, rather than trying to make these grand statements like you're saying, take a little bit of action, get success in that. What's the next little step? build massive amounts of momentum. And these people, I'm sure these people, these family members, these loved ones, they'll be noticing in the background what they're. Everybody knows everybody, unless obviously you've moved farther away from where you're originally from. People talk, people know people, and word will be getting back to those loved ones. I would say, in my opinion, wouldn't it?
100%. How many times have you bumped into somebody and you've gone, "Oh, you look great"? You know, you. How good does that feel?
Yeah,
I don't care who you are. If somebody says to you, "Oh, mate," and if you have been living your life, you know, not as well as you would like, normally your personal appearance is affected. So a small change, just, you know, getting your hair cut or putting a little bit of weight on or getting a bit of colour in your face or whatever, and somebody goes, "You look really well." Then they bump into your mum or they bump into your brother and they say, "Seen your Dave yesterday, you know, down the supermarket. Oh, he looks really well. He's looking after himself." And as you say, they're probably still not ready maybe to be sorting it out, but in the back of their mind they're thinking, "Oh, you know, made up. I hope he's going to get it this time." And that's a good point that you make. They will be noticing that. And we talk a lot, don't we, about small wins, achievable goals is huge in all of this stuff that we do, and we don't have, as human beings, we tend to go for the big stuff, you know, but focus on the little ones, and they'll build. So I think that's it, mate. I think just focus on you, and the rest will come. It really will, and it's proved to work, because everybody that I know, including myself, who has had success and has had long periods of sobriety and calmness in their lives, has stemmed from small achievable changes.
Massive, mate. I think that's enough. I think that's massive advice. I don't think we need to go on much more about that.
No.
I think that's going to really help people understanding that taking a little bit of action for yourself rather than trying to get in contact with family members and loved ones. You do you first, and people will notice, and you'll build momentum off those little incremental changes, won't you?
100%. And you know, I hopefully these little messages that we put across will just trigger something in someone's brain to make them understand that they can do it. Anyone can initiate them changes. Yeah.
Massive, mate. Thanks again for your time this morning, Martin.
Cheers, pal. See you soon. Take care.